Ladies, gentlemen, and others, welcome to the third round of the Ace Racing League Formula 2 World Championship. We leave behind the sunny plains of Wisconsin and Road America for the slightly less sunny plains of Buckinghamshire in the Silverstone circuit this weekend. World-renowned Silverstone is a track that every driver knows and is fun yet tricky, fast yet slow, and the 5.9 kilometers or 3.6 miles of brilliant British tarmac is sure to put on a display for us today. My name's Ron Squire. Hopefully joining us soon will be my co-commentator, Ron Squire, and we are very delighted to have you with us here this evening for round 3 of the Ace Racing League Formula 2 World Championship. Now, it's all as normal today, 15-minute qualifying followed by a 2-minute break and then 24 laps starting at 16 past 8 p.m. in Dutch time. It should be an absolutely cracking race on our hands today. Now, just as we wait for the start of qualifying, I thought I'd just read through the drivers' standings for you and the team standing as well, because it is indeed very, very close at the top of the table, as we can see here on the screen. The first few cars heading out to set the start of their quali laps. Now, in the Drivers' Championship, Connor Peltmans leads the way with 33 points after round 2, followed by Dave Southard with 29 points, and Toby Sanford finishing off the top 3 with 25. However, Brandon Kruger is just behind him on 24, Luca Becker also on 24, Stein Prins on 18, Oscar Williams on 15, Mex Janssen on 10, Youssef Taller Odsger on 8, Ross McIntyre, myself, on 6, David Leltz on 4, Shane Parks on 2, Sazar Gabor Borodjov on 2, Tim Omlu on 1, and Carlos Skomanis also on 1. Now, obviously, it's pretty tight towards the top end of that table, but it's even closer in the team standings, unless, of course, your Sim Apex Junior team, who are completely running away with 57 points at the moment in the first place. Volpino Racing are contesting in second place with only 31, but then just behind Triple Eight VDT, 30 points. Then we've got No Hands Racing on 26, Sim Apex Racing Team on 18, Vermin Racing Team on 16, Mickey Racing on 10, and Broken Brake Pedal on 8. Any other teams have not yet scored a point, so we'll just have to see what they can do. Now, I'm very sorry, but it appears that we're just having a couple of broadcasting issues on my end. I can't quite see the stream, so hopefully we'll get those technical issues resolved very, very quickly. However, for the moment, I am a bit blind, so you will have to forgive me as I try and navigate this technical issue. And there we go, but it's back now. We are back with you. Here we are with Oscar on his outlap here at Silverstone, just heading through the loop, through the left-hander, onto Wellington Straight, down. This is one of the DRS zones we have on the circuit, should I say. Obviously, we are running a DRS mod that enables DRS to be realistically used as realistically as possible. So obviously, as per the real life racing rules with Formula 1, Formula 2 and Formula 3, in a race you can open it if you're within 1 second of the car in front after 2 green flag laps. And obviously it can't restrict you from opening it, but what we've done here at Ace Racing League is that we just slap a time penalty on anybody who opens it, accidentally or non-accidentally, as we can just see a car running a bit wide out of Cops Corner there, and just letting Oscar through, heading into the Maggots and Beckett's complex. An absolute fantastic section of corners, especially in these F2 cars, which are high downforce yet not quite on that level where you can really just keep your foot pinned to the floor the entire way around some high-speed corners. You know, you've really got to fight with the car. It's a very physical car. Obviously, no power steering in real life. You could kind of tune that out a little bit in sim racing, which is, you know, maybe a tad on the unrealistic side, but, you know, it is what it is. Heading now into Club Chicane to start his lap is Oscar. Let's see what he can do as he heads through the final corner and onto what is now called the Hamilton Straight, after one Sir Lewis Hamilton recently named so, and starts his lap flying into Abbey. This should be flat in these cars as he heads through. No lift, as you can hear there. Absolute fantastic stuff. Now into turn 3, braking heavy, try not to lock up as he does so there. Unfortunate there. Here's Dave Southard, who is currently P2 in the championship, heading into the loop. A very, very tricky corner to get right. It's so tight. On a sim, you often can't see where you're going because your screen physically restricts your view. As he heads on to the Wellington Straight now, down into Brooklands. He's 10 seconds up on the first lap, which tells you that whoever set that lap made a bit of a mistake as he heads through Brooklands. Another very tricky corner but it's basically the most important corner on the circuit in regards to the next one, because you need to get the exit bang on in order to maximise the speed you can through the next turn and all the way down the straight and into Copse, apologies there, as he heads through Copse. Again, another corner that in qualifying trim should be around about flat in these cars if you can take it right, if the setup is right. Heading through Maggots and Beckett's now, you can see just how on the limit the car is through there, right on the curbs. Coming through Chapel now, onto the Hanger Straight. DRS wide open. It's a very strong first lap, should I say, from Mr. Southern here, heading into a very quick right-hander of Stowe. Try not to run too far on the exit, because Assetto Corsa, the AstroTurf hit will just spit you out. That is somewhere to keep your eye on in the race. You know, Stowe corner on the exit, and as well coming into the loop, turn 3 and into Brooklyn as well. I feel like those are going to be the places where we're going to see an accident, because that's where people make mistakes, that's where people lock up, that's where people misjudge what the other driver's doing, or that's where people simply run too wide and the Assetto Corsa AstroTurf just spits you out. Dave Southern sets a respectable time of he's in the 1 minute 40s. Connor Peltman's currently the only driver in the 139s with 139.881. Obviously, he's still leading the way in the championship after a win last time out at Road America. The Sim Apex Junior driver doing a very, very strong job here today. Although, obviously, it's early in qualifying, the track's still to evolve. So we'll have to see what happens over the remaining 10 minutes and 39 seconds of this session. Yüksel Ratid now heads onto the Wellington Straight, and away he goes. You can see the cars running the super softs here today. Or as they head round, obviously the tyre choice in qualifying has been a big ask. Should I say the softs? Sorry, not the super softs. The softs, obviously the ultra softs, super softs. Apologies, tripping over my own words here tonight. The super softs are a lot quicker over the opening 2/3 of the lap. Typically, we saw this in Spa, Road America. It was a bit of give and take. If you could get the supers to last, then they were the side to be on. But at Spa, and it appears to be the case here as well, the super softs just do not last the lap at all. They just get too hot towards the end of the lap, and the time drop that you will lose over the last sector is it's too much compared to the speed that you'll gain through the opening 2 sectors. So use the soft tyres as you please to try and get the maximum pace out of your car to sort out where you are on the grid before the race. Obviously, just a roughly 40-minute race here. We've converted that into 24 minutes due to the DRS app not liking timed races. Bertolt Varga coming in to finish his lap. It's not too strong, but like I said earlier, it is the first qualifying session. Cross the line, does he improve on his previous best? Yes, he does. All the way up to P8, so 1 minute 41.338 from Bertolt Varga. Pretty strong lap there. Oh, and there goes Shane Parks spinning off into the pit lane, and that is exactly what I was referring to when I was talking about the exit of Stowe. Now here's Toby Sanford, a very quick driver, also my teammate. He's driving a bit of a one-man army today. He's going to need to get some big points for Volpino Racing due to the fact that we are only fielding 1 car as he heads through Brooklands. Coming around the long right-hander, chooses to take a more rounded line than often you see drivers taking the double apex line, where you take a first apex, dive back out and then cut back in to try and get a really strong acceleration off the corner. Obviously, he's felt like that is not the way to go today, but we'll see how that changes. Obviously, he may just be experimenting with lines. Who really knows? Who really knows? Still with Toby Sanford as he heads through Maggots and Beck. It's a little bit of a wobble there coming into Chapel, but onto the Hanger Straight now. Blasting down, we see the DRS wide open. He's 2.5 tenths down on Dave Sullivan. He's managed to stick himself on pole now, because Connor Peltman's appears to have disconnected by the looks of things. Nope, he's now back in. And it's still a stronger lap, and he's coming into the pits, so Toby Sanford, despite being up, as does Alex Cochrane. So Toby Sanford, despite being up, obviously felt like that was enough. Obviously, he's heading back in. Maybe he needs more fuel. Maybe he needs new tyres. Who knows? Yüksel Ratib coming in to try and set a better lap. He's currently P11 at the moment. Cross the line. Does he improve? Yes, he does. It's P10. 1 place is more than none, as they always say. It's a 141.569. Not a bad lap by any means, and that was an interesting line through the club chicane, shall I say, from Sazbo Gabor Borijov as he heads through, crosses the line. He does not improve on that lap. 7 minutes to go on qualifying. This is most likely to be the more quiet section of qualifying, where we see drivers waiting, and you maybe see a few drivers trying to gamble and try and get out and try and get 3 stints in. I don't believe it's possible just sitting here in my room, but we'll have to see what can happen. It's my belief is that there is not enough time to get 3 runs in, so I think we'll be seeing most drivers waiting for that late exit to qualifying. But that being said, we can see here the Sim Apex Junior drivers, Connor Peltman's out there pitting in the laps. He's chasing down Luca Baker there. And here we are on board with Mr. Peltman's, the current reigning Ace Racing League champion from our Formula 3 mini-series that we did on rFactor 2 in the summer. Coming down the hanger straight into Stowe, very quick corner, brakes nice and early. It's obviously on a bit of an outlap because this is very, very gentle, and yet you can see him just giving the gap to the car in front as his teammate spins out ahead of him. There you are. Coming through club, but now this is changing back onto the hanger straight now. And you can see, and there's cars starting to come out. Toby Sanford comes in the background, one of the Sim Apex drivers, plus the Sim Apex Racing team, not the junior team drivers in the background as well, just coming through. And everyone appears to be just waiting to start their lap. Just patiently waiting. Coming through club chicane. This is a great overtaking opportunity if you have the guts to do so. A very late dive on the brakes is it's often a move which can pay off well, but if you make a mistake, you leave it too late, you lock up, it can also pay dividends, as Connor Peltman appears to have made a mistake coming through Abbey, the first corner, the quick sweeping right-hander. Either that or he's just letting Talar Osgur through. As we head now back onto the hanger straight, or the Wellington straight I should say, apologies. Heading down into Brooklands. He's only a 10th up, or a 10th down, sorry, should I say, on Connor Peltman's through that first sector. As he head through Luffield now. Again, the tighter line seems to be the preferred one here today. I've seen more drivers taking that than the double apex line through Luffield. Heading now into Cops, just taking that little bit of curb on the entry on the outside, flat through there, wonderful corner there for Mr. Uzagur. Coming into Maggots and Beckett's now, an absolute rapid section of corners. Just look at how on the limit he is through there. Running a little bit wide onto the exit of Chapel. That could be beneficial if he'd have used more runoff, but I think he tried to scrub some speed off to try and keep the car tucked in. And yet you can see there it's 5/10 down on Mr. Peltman's lap, so it's not a great lap from Talar Uzagur. I reckon if he'd have just let the car run wide, as we can see, and he's, I think that lap might be a little bit invalidated now as he just runs straight across Stowe. But it was a decent lap nonetheless. Obviously that mistake coming through Chapel, the right-hander at the end of the Maggots and Beckett's complex, just pushing a little bit too hard, and instead of trying to let the car run wide and use some of that grass as a curb. He still improved on that lap though, to be fair, up to P2, but he could have been even closer to Mr. Peltman's in P1, I feel. And here's Brandon Kreuger, not quite as on the limit through Maggots and Beckett's. He's seems to be going a bit slowly actually, so I wonder if he's on an outlap. I would assume yes, because he's 20 seconds down in that sector. And as we follow him now through Stowe corner. And he comes into the pits. Toby Sanford now coming out of the loop and onto the Wellington straight, looking to improve in his time. He's a very quick driver is Toby. That number 58 orange and black Volpino car. Obviously a one-man army today. He's going to try and do what he can do best and stick that near the front of the grid, currently residing in P6. 8/10 down. I think track evolution just called him out a little bit. Maybe there was a mistake on the lap, I'm not sure. We'll just have to see what he can do as he heads around Luffield. Just had some, just a question from my broadcaster. Yes, that's absolutely fine. And so we will be getting a co-commentator. It's not Ron Squire, however, it is Joey Vrolik, man I know very well. So we will be treated to a duo at home as we continue to follow Toby Sanford through Chapel onto the Hanger Straight. And down he comes into Stowe Corner now. There's not long left on the clock, enough time for maybe another lap as another car goes firing off at Stowe Corner. You can just see there the AstroTurf is so crucial, as you can see the brake glowing red under the intense braking into Club Chicane. Coming through the final corner now, here goes Toby Sanford to start what will be his final lap of the session. Let's see what he can do. It's a do or die lap here. Let's follow Toby Sanford around. Coming through Abbey, very nice, very smooth. Keeps it tucked in tight on the exit of turn 2. Hard braking to turn 3, using the curb on the exit. Bit of a wobble on the entrance. Can't use all of the curb on the mid corner. And again, coming through the loop, just running a little bit wide. The car a bit unsettled as he comes through onto the Wellington Straight now. DRS wide open. Oh, it's so tight. 500ths of a second to Connor Peltman. Coming through Brooklands now, again a little bit wide, but just trying to maybe carry that speed into Luffield, taking the tighter line. Late apex, power out, use all the curbs. Absolutely lovely drive off that corner there from the orange Volpino car. Heading now down towards Copse Corner, the old start-finish straight. Let's see how he does through here. Turns out to try and get as much run as he can. Not quite as tight as some other drivers we've been seeing through there, but perhaps that means that he's going to take more speed into the Maggotts and Beckett's complex, and if he can carry more speed through here, he'll be well off down the Hanger Straight. Again, very nice coming through Chapel. Let's see how he does. Very nice on the exit, uses all the curb on the inside there onto the Hanger Straight. It's 4/10 down though on Connor Peltman's, so Connor Peltman's obviously has a bit of time there that no one else does. He's been very, very strong, obviously 8/10 up at the moment. Toby Sanford, however, looking to challenge that. If he can have a very, very strong Club Chicane, he could be maybe looking at a potential pole position, but right now I'd say he's on course for a front row finish. Coming through now the final corner, let's see what Toby Sanford can do. Qualifying is finished, Toby Sanford crosses the line, and it's P3 from Toby Sanford. Not a bad effort at all from the Volpino man. As we just see the end of qualifying now, Tala Ozagur comes home P4. I don't believe he won't be able to start another lap because qualifying's finished. It's a very respectable showing there from the Vermin driver. As he just following on his slowdown lap heading into the loop. So that seems like it will be your grid, unless there is any changes last minute that we might get. Oh, and there is a change. Oh, and off spins goes Mr. Tala Ozagur. As Brandon Kruger goes P2. We're just waiting now for the final results. Here's the F1 RO Esports car. Coming into the pits, 4 seconds down, not a great lap there from Mr. Belescu. As we reach the end of qualifying. Into the pits he comes. And that, it seems, will be that. Yuxel Ratov appears to be on a lap. So I take it back, maybe we did have a lap or two at the end. He comes through. P10, Alex Cochrane also seems to be on a push. Can he do anything from P9? Or not P9, P7, I apologise. Crosses the line, does not improve, and that is the end of qualifying. So there we are, your grid for the race. Connor Peltman's on the pole. Brandon Kruger P2. Dave Southard P3. Toby Sanford P4. I'm sure now, as we just have a short 2-minute break, we should be in for an absolute treat today. We now just wait for the start of this race. Keep your eye out into turn 3, which is Farm, and coming into Brooklands as well, just after the Hanger Straight, and through Copse Corner and Stowe as well. They are going to be the, you could argue, Club Chicane, well, or Vale as some people like to call it. You could argue Yeah, so that's going to be the points to keep you out on the first lap, because that's where the accidents are going to happen here today. We can see there a lovely view of the grid. We sit patiently awaiting those lights. The crowd's not quite packed here at Silverstone. Obviously, the British COVID-19 policy not allowing full crowds here today. At the Ace Racing League Formula 2 World Championship here, round 3 at Silverstone. However, we can still put on a show for you at home as we await patiently. Cars lined up on the grid in their respective positions. It looks like the front runners will all be starting on these softs. I can't quite see beyond over P3 just from this angle. We'll have to see what everyone's on the first lap. My suspicion from knowing Toby as my teammate that he may be on the mediums. Just have to see what the strategy plays out like. 24 laps here at Silverstone. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, 6 lights. Lights are out, away we go here at Silverstone. Connor Peltmans gets a great start away. Dave Southern not so strong. Heading into Abbey, let's see what happens going on board here. A bit of understeer from all the drivers. It seems Connor Peltmans already has a bit of a lead. Everyone taking it very cautiously into Luffield. Ooh, diving up the inside there. Oh, and there appears to be a car on the grid, and it is our broadcast car. And Connor Peltmans already has a gap, and I believe we have been joined by my co-commentators as well. Hello, Joey. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fine, Ross. I'm just looking really forward to seeing some amazing racing on a Saturday now. How are you doing yourself, man?
I'm doing fantastic, and the same as you. Looking forward to just seeing some brilliant racing, as Connor Peltmans already has built up a huge lead, over a second already. That Canadian man is absolutely flying. Here we are on board with Toby Sanford in P4 coming. Will he have a look at the cops? I don't think he will. He's a bit too far back, but he does have a bit of a run out of Luffield. But then again, it is also the first lap, so we'll have to see what he can do. No, he backs off through cops. A bit of a wobble on the AstroTurf on the exit there, but coming through Magnus and Beckett. It appears that we've had a pretty clean first lap so far, which is nice to see. Obviously, at Road America and at the first round, we had some pretty large first lap incidents. And here's Luca Baker in the other Sim Apex Junior car, having a bit of a wobble and a bit of a tougher time than Connor Peltman out on the first lap. He's already built up a 2.5 lead, which is phenomenal. We can see some overtakes going on ahead. There's Talar Ozagur. I want a bit of a touch there from the car behind, but everyone managing to keep it clean as they head into the Vale chicane. And Luca Baker may have a look here as well. Ooh, very slowly from the car in front. As they head now through the first corner. We have a car in the pits already, so that tells me that there has not been an entirely clean lap so far, but it would appear that it's been cleaner than it could have been. On board with Alex Cochrane here. Doesn't quite have a look into the turn 3, into the loop. We follow, all very organised. There's 2 cars squabbling for position ahead. Through Village Corner. Talar Ozagur's got a great run out of here, surely. No, maybe not. Neck and neck. He's going to have the inside line into Brooklands. We've already got a DNF P14. That's a Yexel right. Oh, big wobble there. Nearly takes out the man in front. I'm not sure who that was in front of him, and that is going to allow Luca Baker to have a look up the inside of Cochrane, and he is going to do so. Very, very tight here, Joey.
Yeah, mate, some really close racing between these guys. They're on board now with Alex Cochrane, and as he's looking for the move down into the next corner and gets on the steer with the dirty ass, looking ever closer slightly.
It is indeed. Obviously, these cars, high downforce, the dirt air is going to play a role through the corner. Silverstone being a very high downforce track, so you really need to get your move done before the corner, because you're unlikely to get it done out of the corner, except unless it's a slow corner. So I think the club chicane, Luffield, the loop, anywhere like that, that's really where you're going to want to be on the exit. Everywhere else, you're going to want to be further back or in front, just trying to avoid that dirty air. Still with Alex Cochrane, now over with Imran Sheikh, as he potentially has a look down the inside of Shane Parks into Stowe. This would be a very brave move, and he gets the move done. Great move there by Imran Sheikh up the inside.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it was a great move as Connor Peltman sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 41.5. 3.76. The only man in the 41s at the moment. That Canadian is flying. 3 laps in. He's already got a 2.5 second gap. Phenomenal stuff. However, I do wonder what his tyres will be like after a few laps.
Yes, I couldn't agree more on that. Absolute scenes in the ARL Formula 2 Championship, round 3 at Silverstone. We're still riding with Alex Corsa, like last time out. Just looking around the track, having a look at Becker in front, but just waiting and just trying to anticipate the next move, what he's going to do.
Yeah, obviously, it's still very, very early into the race. Oh, and there's a spin in front. That's Taylor Oziger. Probably just some rear diff locking that happens ever so often in this car. You just tap the brakes, the rear diff locks, and it flicks you round. Manages to keep it going, only a half spin there. That's going to cost him 2 places and a lot of time. Unfortunate there for Taylor Oziger, down in P8. Still in the points though, however, I wonder what state his tyres will be, and that will definitely overheat his tyres as Alex Cochrane again runs wide with the dirty hour. I think he's might have potentially a bit of front wing damage because he's run wide through that corner multiple times now as he heads through Maggot and Beckett's and into Chapel. Everyone seems to be taking quite a late. Yeah, I suspect he's got some front wing damage because
he
again
is struggling. He is really struggling, yeah, boss.
He is struggling through Chapel. Through Chapel, you actually want to take quite an early apex, and he took almost a mid-corner apex and then ran wide on the exit. So we'll have to see if he potentially dives into the pits at the end of this lap, which he does not. He keeps going, so obviously he feels like he can keep going if he does have damage. Coming through the final section now, Connor Peltman's another fastest lap, 1:41.263. Great lap there. Peltman's again just pulling away from everybody else. He's the fastest man on track at the moment, 3 seconds already to Brandon Kruger behind. And it appears he's very much got his sights set firmly on winning this race by a long distance.
Yeah, Ross, I'm quite new, to be honest, myself to the ARL Formula 2 Championship, but Connor Peltman is on fire at the moment, setting fastest lap each lap. Yeah, as again, it's a pleasure to join you, mate. I'm just sitting on some Jack and Coke at the moment, just enjoying a nice race on the Saturday night.
Oh, that's lovely to hear, Joey. And yeah, Connor Peltman's obviously took the pole position, took the win out last time out at Road America, and he's proving why he's been an ARL champion in the past, and he deserves to be an ARL champion again this season because he is absolutely flying. He's got his sights set on one thing, and that is an absolute dominating race win. And I think, obviously, given the lead he has in the driver's standings already after 2 rounds, I think he's very much got his sights set firmly on that championship. However, obviously, it's only round 3. Anything can happen, but obviously that Canadian is just flying away. 3.3 seconds already on lap 4 of 24. Here's Dave Southern, his nearest driver in the championship, who's behind Toby Sanford at the moment. As it stands, they would swap place in the championship. Toby Sanford are currently P3, both on track and in the championship. Very quick driver is Toby. Yet to maybe quite prove his worth up the top against Mr. Peltman. He's been close. He obviously had a bit of a nightmare race at Spa, had a penalty and a half spin, and then however at Road America got a podium, was very clean, very consistent. And now I'd like to think here today that he'd like to win, but judging by the pace of Peltman's already, I just want to see what he can do. But I think he's got his sights very much on a podium.
Yeah, most definitely, Ross.
Yeah, most definitely, but we'll just have to see what the tyres are like now, because obviously we have to have a tyre change in this race. The softs don't last all the way, the mediums won't last all the way, and it's in the rulebook that you have to have a tyre change as well. And so it just depends now, I believe, on what people do with the tyres. It may be that Connor Peltman's is simply burning through those softs and will maybe have to go onto the hards for the end of the race, which could really compromise his second stint. Or if he has to come into the box early, and that could all again compromise, because if he comes up the pits and he can't get the tyres up to the temperature that he needs to be able to put in these quick laps, then that's really going to provide a problem. He could get a massive overcut in the pits. We simply don't know here. However, that gap is still 3.3 seconds. That's a big ask from Brandon Kruger to close that up before the pit window. So we'll have to see what happens. The pit window should be opening within the next few laps. So just keep your eyes peeled on the pit lane, on the timing board on the left. 13 drivers left, 5 laps in here at the Ace Racing League.
Yeah, same as Ross at 13 of, what's it? Yeah, around 13 laps left. Connor Peltman still leading from Brandon Kruger and Toby Sanford. I mean, anything can happen. We're not even halfway through the race, not even quarter through the race. And yeah, anything can happen. It's just set to be an amazing race.
It is indeed. Dave Southern still looking at the back of Toby Sanford. I'm sure he's getting quite sick of the gearbox of that Volpino racing car now. But he just doesn't appear to have the pace to catch and get around him. Obviously, it's one thing to match and catch Joe, but another thing to overtake. I'm sure Toby's got his eyes firmly in his mirrors because he is falling back from Brandon Kruger. So his attention will be firmly behind as Brandon Kruger sets a great fastest lap. Bertol Vargas just disconnected, so that's our second DNF of the day, down to 12 drivers here on lap 6. But all things told, it has still been a very clean race, so that is good to see. As we still follow Dave into the loop. Let's see if we can get a very good exit out of here and onto the village. If his close enough has been the lap before, but I'm not quite sure he can be close enough to have DRS. Let's see if he does. I don't think he does, but he's still got the slipstream. He won't be close enough to Brooklands, but if he's good through Brooklands, avoids the dirty air, then he might have a chance. Oh no, the rear diff lock from Dave Southern. Oh, close there to the other cars. Dave Southern spins round, just the rear diff locking. It catches everybody out eventually, and unfortunately for Dave, it's just caught him out at the wrong moment, chasing down Toby 7 for P3. He's wound all the way down in P7. Absolute disaster there for Dave Southern, who's P3, 2 in the championship at the moment. Alex Cochrane has a look on Luca Baker, doesn't quite make it work again, understeering off through Copse Corner. Can he ever maybe perhaps keep with him and have a look through Maggers and Beckett? We can see there in the background they're coming through. I'm not sure he'll be able to hold the pace through, but he might be able to have the DRS down the hanger straight. A lot more neat and tidy through Chapel this time, and he definitely will have DRS. Luca Baker will have his eyes firmly on his mirrors. You can see behind Alex Cochrane gaining. DRS wide open, looks to the inside, can't quite make the move into Stowe, but I'm sure he knows that he's got the pace to get it done. Luca Baker appears to be struggling at the moment in comparison to his teammate Connor Peltmans, as we're back on board with Alex now coming through the Club Chicane and the final corner onto the main straight. Lap 7 for these two, and it appears that the pit window still hasn't opened, but Connor Peltman's his pace advantage has depleted slightly. He's only put a couple tenths into Brandon Kruger over the past couple laps, Joey.
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing. Just coming back to that spin earlier from Dave Southwood, he is absolutely lucky no one hit him there. Luck and the Angel has been on his side for this one.
Oh, definitely. Oh, that was a very, very bad, dangerous place to have a half spin. And obviously just being right in the middle of the truck as well. And just enough car width, just a car width for everyone to squeeze by on the inside. It's very lucky no one else was caught in that incident. As Alex Cochrane runs incredibly wide through Brooklands. That's going to ruin any hopes he had coming out of Luffield. It's going to kill all his momentum. Presumably it's going to overheat his tyres as well, as we just continue to follow this battle round. But as it stands, lap 7, Connor Peltmans leads the way, and he's got 6.6 seconds to Brandon Kruger, so it appears we may have had a timing glitch about half a lap ago when I said he had put no time into Brandon Kruger. Unless so, Brandon Kruger's made a mistake, because Toby Sanford is suddenly all over the back of the purple car, so we'll have to see what's happened there. I believe it may have just been maybe a half spin or a mistake from Brandon Kruger. Connor Peltmans now has a very, very pretty lead, and Toby Sanford is probably fancying himself for P2 here, which would be even better for him in the championship and for the team as well. Obviously, he's a one-man army today, so he's got to do what he can to keep that P2 in the constructors for the teams, and perhaps gain P2 in the drivers' championship. Brought forward Pino Racing coming through the last corner now. It's very, very close between these two. Connor Peltmans has just absolutely left them both behind. The Canadians on another level today, it appears. Coming through Abbey, just over the curves, again keeping it tight out turn 2 to try and minimise the distance into Luffield. Use a little bit of the curve, not too much, don't want to upset the car coming into the loop, and again for the loop here as well. Just a little bit of the curb, don't use too much steering, don't scrub off so much speed, because now coming onto the Wellington straight, he's got the DRS open on, but I think he's a bit too far back to perhaps have a look into Brooklands, unless Kruger makes a mistake again. And these two drivers both appear to be on very, very similar pace as they head through Luffield. Toby taking a slightly later apex and a slightly shallower corner exit in Kruger. So that's going to enable Kruger to perhaps pull away down the old start-finish straight through Cobb's Corner. Now we go, running a little bit of a curve again. Come the end of the race, if anyone's on new tyres, that will be flat on the low fuel loads. However, it should be mediums at the end of the race, so I'm not entirely sure how those tyres will cope through there, but we'll just have to see what they can do. Coming now onto the hanger straight, the second back straight of Silverstone, under the bridge, and again just too far back to have a look into Stowe. But Toby Sanford knows that the pace is there, knows that Brandon Kruger has made a mistake before and will make a mistake again. later Apex and Brandon Kruger really testing that runoff. That runoff there is an absolute killer. The Astro will spin you around. It doesn't care who you are, where you are, what position you are in. It will kill you if you even look at it in the wrong direction. So that's you really have to be careful there. Brandon Kruger is obviously taking no chances. He wants to get away from Toby Sanford. Just keeping his head down. Brandon again sitting a fastest personal best there is Kruger, the car ahead there, and Luca Baker, the first car into the pits. Sim Apex Jr. from P7. Here we are then. What tyres are going to... And Imran Sheikh as well. So here we are. This is it. The pit window is now wide open. Lap 9 of 24. I suspect that we're going to see cars going onto the medium tyres if they come into the pits. And
yeah, right, as you say, Ross. Pretty much this is what Connor Peltman wants. Connor Peltman wants Brandon Kruger and Toby Sanford pretty much to battle with each other, to battle it out, so he can get more and more time on them too. Connor Peltman, he's in a really good position. I've got no idea what his strategy is going to be compared to the others. I'm not really that familiar with the strategy in this series, but Connor Peltman is absolutely flying at the moment and is pretty much in the league of his own.
He is indeed. 6 seconds to Brandon Kruger after that mistake from the second place man. And we could see in the background Toby Sanford seems to have a bit of a run out of Cops Corner, but Connor Peltman's is just simply out of the store at the moment. He is pulling the gap away, and 9 laps into this race he is controlling the pace, and as you mentioned, he will be absolutely loving these two having a battle, because it means he can just get the gap further and further away. It means any mistakes he makes, any misjudgment on the pit stop, if his tyres are on at the end, that's just safety that he has for the end of the race. He knows that he can perhaps back off a little bit and just take less risks. And there goes Toby Sanford into P2. Brandon Kruger has made a mistake into the club chicane. I was just thinking, where was he coming out of the corner? And there he was off the track. Toby Sanford P2, Brandon Kruger P3, and that is vital coming into the pit stop window, because that could change the shape of both these drivers' race. Now, it's not just a question of who's fast, it's a question of who bites first, because we know that Kruger appears to have the slight pace advantage on the softs in this first stint, but whoever bites first onto the mediums, not only will they have fresher tyres, but they have to go for longer. So if these two drivers are locked in at the end of the race, that will really come into its own effect. Down onto the Wellington straight now, Brandon Kruger gets the DRS. He's close, but not close enough to the Volpino car, number 58, heading through Brooklands. Interesting line there from Kruger. He actually takes quite a bit of the curb, which I wasn't expecting, because in these cars they're not like the friendliest with curves, so I would expect him to run perhaps a tad wider, but he obviously feels that he can take the curb and get more speed into the right-hander of Lockwood with coming through Cops now and running very wide. The dirty air just catching him out. I don't think he's going to quite have the run to have a look into anywhere in Magnuson Beckett's. We can see that Toby Sanford just running a little bit wide, coming into Chapel, and again, just a bit wide coming through Chapel Corner, and now Brandon Kruger is going to have the DRS. 6.5 seconds between Sanford and Peltman, as we can see Peltman was just going through Stowe ahead. Kruger not quite close enough again for the DRS, just not quite brave enough on the brakes. Let's see if either of them dive into the pits. And no, they don't. They are going to go around once again.
Yeah, they're probably just following each other and just really wanted to stick with each other. Both are doing the same. Riding now again with Alex Cochrane, but back to Toby Sanford and Brandon Kruger. I think they're going to react to each other, Ross. I think they're going to do exactly the same.
I think you're right there, Joey. I think they're obviously locked in a battle, and I think that they're, obviously it could be whoever bites first. If Brandon Kruger bites first and hits first, then Toby Sanford is going to have to go around again. But I feel like Toby Sanford, if he boxes Brandon, will just come in with him. I think he knows that that's his best chance. And I'm surprised that these drivers have managed to take the softs this long. 11 laps in. It's been a pretty strong performance from everyone to get the softs this far. But the top three really are in a league of their own. And they've not only, yes, they may be approaching 7 seconds back from Connor Peltman, who was absolutely flying. But then again, they then have another 8 seconds to 4th place. And on downwards, who then have another 15 place. Sorry, excuse me there. Another 15 seconds to Luca Mangini in P7, who's on track some a very strong points finish today. Followed around Alex Cochrane. He's seeing Southard and Gabor Borijev just fighting ahead of them, and it looks like Southard's going to have a dive down the inside. I think that was Southard down the inside anyway, and they are still neck and neck. Who's going to come out on top? Southard is on the outside here, but he's on the inside, coming into the next one, and he gets the move done. And that really compromised the other driver coming out of Chapel. Oh, Alex Kirac have to hit the brakes. Oh, and a bit tetchy on the throttle there. Manages to keep it going. Wow, great save there by Alex Kirac coming through Chapel Corner. Just touched the brakes to avoid the driver in front and got back on the throttle. Car and balanced and almost around. Great car control there from the 6th place driver.
Absolutely amazing scenes right here. Riding on board now with Tala Ozgur, all over the back of Mihai Belascu. Going a bit wide and he's just going to take him around the outside, isn't he? Absolutely beautiful. There we go. Boom. Moved on.
Move. Absolute piece of cake there for Tala Ozgur. Moving up into P9. And Brandon Kruger's in the pit, so he has a bit in the bullet first. He wants to make the move, I assume, onto the mediums, or perhaps could be the softs. He's managed to get the softs 12 laps. He could get them another 12 laps as well. We don't know, because that skin has no tyre wall markings, so we don't know what he's on. However, obviously Toby Sanford has gone another lap longer, so I presume he will have gone onto the softs. So let's see what Toby Sanford does on this lap. I presume he'll pit as well on this next lap, and let's see where they are when they come out together. Luca Mangini also in the pits in the Volpino Arctico car, currently in P8, the Swiss driver. He's youngest in the field. Not to say that he's slow. Yes, he's still learning, still improving, but he has very much shown that he's got some pace on his side. Currently in P11 after that pit stop. He was running as high as P7 earlier. Let's hope he can get back up to this place, and he's gone onto the soft, so it appears it is a soft race today. The mediums are not needed, so we'll have to see how that impacts the second stints, especially when you consider that there's less fuel. So we'll have to see what the tyre wear does and how all that works.
Yeah, I could agree more, Ross. We're just going to see now, is the man himself, who we're riding on now, Mr. Cochrane, going to go into the box and let Kruger catch up to him? Is it going to be enough? Has he pulled enough of a gap? Is he going to come in? Yes, he is. So we'll just have to wait and see if Brandon Kruger can catch up to Alex Cochrane when he's in the pits.
It appears that the top 4 are all in the pits, so now we sit and wait to see what Brandon Kruger can do. He's just coming through Stowe, running very wide again. He's really aggressive on the exit of that corner. Let's see what he can do. Coming through the club chicane, I predict that Connor Peltman will still be well and clear of him. Toby Sanford, however, it's going to be very close between those two, but Toby Sanford will have fresher tyres, especially come the end of the race. Connor Peltman's out the pits. It appears that Toby Sanford is not as it stands. Where is the Volpino car? There he is, P3 for Tony Sanford. Brandon Kruger, the undercut, has burst. However, remember that Sanford has fresher softs come the...
Yeah.
Joey.
Yeah, big up Brandon Kruger for that. Absolutely masterpiece of strategy, just ending up in P2. Actually, quite close to Connor Peltman, more than I can remember, but still, the gap is 5 seconds, so I have to see what's going to happen.
He will, and we can see that this is a bit of a cluster coming out the pits. Alex Cochrane and Dave Southern have found themselves all in the back of Gabor Borojev. I cannot pronounce that name, apologies. Gabor Borojev. And again, coming through Brooklyn, they're just losing so much time, and Alex again just getting a little bit understeer. That car just doesn't seem to be settled at any stage in this race. I'm not sure if that's a setup issue. Obviously, these setups being half fixed, you can there are some aspects of the system you're allowed to change in the Ace Racing Formula 2 Championship. Some you're not. Dave Southern's got to have a look down the outside. Can't get it done, but he definitely gets the run off the cops. That's a monster run. Almost touching coming through Magus and Bex. They're going to be neck and neck. Let's see what he can do. Sweeping around the outside. Absolutely great move there by Dave Southern. Desperate to hold on to that P2 in the championship. As it stands, he won't get it. He's now on the charge. And if Sanford makes a mistake, oh boy, have we got a race in our hands. Alex Cochrane now will have the back of Gabor. Let's see if he can get the move done into Star. I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. He's having a look. Not quite brave enough though. You might be trying to get a run out of Stowe. Definitely runs a bit tighter through there. He might be able to have a look into the club chicane now, and he does again late on the brakes.
Oh, we got a disconnect. We got a disconnect, mate.
And that's Tala Ozgur, who's just disconnected from P11. It would look like that's dreadful news for him, who was running out pretty well early on in the race. So that's really unfortunate for him. I'm not sure if he's had an accident or his internet's gone down, perhaps. Obviously, that is a fact that you have to factor in with sim racing. You know, you can have internet issues. However, that's not the focus right now. The focus right now is Connor Peltman's 5.5 seconds ahead of Brandon Kruger. Lap 14, he is just simply flying, isn't he, Joey?
Yeah, I must say, the gap isn't really changing, but he's just maintaining it. He's just chilling. He's probably just watching over his tyres, his fuel or anything. He's just sitting there and I'm sure he's just chilling at the moment. He's living the dream.
I'm sure he is. He's sitting very, very pretty in first place. You can see just by the way he's driving, he's not pushing whatsoever.
Not at all.
The man from Canada driving in the Sim Apex Junior team is putting in an absolute shift here today, just as he did at Road America, looking to make it 2 wins on the trot. Dave Southard is now behind Gabor and Cochrane again, so it appears that Dave Southard must have had another half spin, it appears. That's absolutely dreadful news for the man who's second place in the championship at the moment. But as it stands, he won't be after this race because he's down to P6 and his main rival, Toby Sanford, in the podium places. Alex Cochrane now is a lot closer to Gabor. He's going to get the DRS. I'm sure we'll be able to have a look into Stowe now. We might even have a look before halfway down the straight. Who's going to be braver on the brakes coming to Stowe? Oh, they're neck and neck. Is he able to hang around the outside? Oh, they may have touched. I don't think they did, though. Great move by Cochrane there.
Simply
oh,
lovely.
and down the inside. Whoa! Very, very close there between the two. Great racing here. The Vermin driver still just holding the lead, or P3 should I say, as Gabor Borovoj manages to just keep it on the road into P4. Absolutely phenomenal racing there by both of them. You know, we had Cochrane holding it all the way around the outside of Stowe Corner, and almost not covered. Oh! Mistakes from both drivers there, and Dave Southern's going to be having a look at this now. I think I'll have some of that as he goes around the outside of Gabor up the loop. Dave Southern up into P5, or P4 should I say, because where's Brandon Kruger gone off the timesheet? I think that may be a timing sheet glitch, I'm not too sure. But I didn't see a disconnect message anywhere, so we'll have to see where he's gone. But up into P6 I believe it is.
Yeah, completely right there, Ross. But let's not forget, Conor Bowman's extremely loving this. Gap increases 7 seconds right now with these three battling it up.
Yeah, exactly. Conor Peltman's, you know, he's sitting there looking in his mirrors and laughing all the way to the sweet shot because all his main rivals are just caught up in these battles and these scraps and they're making mistakes, just allowing him to creep further and further and further away. It's, you know, he's just having the race of his life. He's built up that gap early on, and now he's just simply, you know, having an unscheduled test session. That's all it is for him. He's just putting in the laps, 15 laps out of 24 and we can see there the three drivers battling. It is for P4. Oh, and Brandon Kruger, we just had confirmation, has DNF from this race. The man who was in P2 is now DNF from this race. That's not Conor Peltman you're seeing. That's Gabor Borovoj. Now, Alex Cochrane finds himself promoted to P3. Toby Sanford in P2, Dave Southern in P4. That suddenly changes things. Because Toby Sanford now is going to get a lot more points. So Dave Southern is really going to need to get a shift on. He wants to protect that P2 in the championship. Disaster for Brandon Kruger there. And we just thought it was a time screen glitch, but we can confirm that he has retired from this race, disconnected. That's an absolute disaster for him. But that is sometimes what happens in sim racing, sometimes what happens in motorsport. You just you get these issues, and unfortunately you can't prevent them. So big shame there for Brandon Kruger, but I'm sure Toby Sanford is loving the extra points that he's going to get for free without having to do battles up to P2 as the British driver for Volcano Racing. As we still focus on this battle on board with Dave Southern, which has now become slightly more intense, I'd say, because it's now a podium place on the cards. So we'll have to see if that changes anyone's behaviour, Gabor or Southern or Cochrane, maybe just defends a bit more aggressive. What do you think, Joe? Do you think it being a podium on the cards perhaps makes it a bit more enticing to take a risk?
I honestly don't know. There's a podium at play though, so certainly drivers are going to push themselves a little bit more, but it's close ever so slightly. I honestly don't know what to think. It's been so close for the entire race. As mentioned even a bit earlier, Conor Parkman is absolutely living his life at the moment with the gap extending to nearly 9 seconds.
Exactly, he is flying away from Toby Sanford at the moment. Is Conor Peltman's, the Sim Apex Junior driver, is just setting lap after lap after lap and just increasing and increasing that gap. Obviously, they've both got a very, very healthy bracket. So Alex Cochrane in third place, who's battling with these other two drivers, and that gap will only be increasing because of the battle. However, yeah, Toby Sanford and Conor Peltman's obviously very much just enjoying themselves. You know, they can just take it back, take it easy, have a bit of an unscheduled test session. Maybe not so much for Sanford. I'm sure he'll still be pushing, trying to get that gap down. I'm sure he still, you know, perhaps feels that if Peltman makes a mistake, you know, he goes off or spins, that there's still a win on the cards here. But, you know, still P2 is not a bad result at all from P4 on the grid.
Yeah, I'm also
So,
sure, Ross, he's really looking in his mirrors behind him, because all he worries about, he got 2 charging bulls right behind him. I think for him, Connor might be gone even. He might even given up on the win. It's just all about securing that 2nd place with the points in the championship.
That is true. Obviously, 2nd place in the championship would be a 2nd place in the drivers, and a secure 2nd place for Volcano Racing as well. It would very much increase the gap to Vermin Racing Team. However, obviously, as you mentioned, these 2 drivers behind them are definitely on the charge. And while he may be thinking that if Helmers makes a mistake in the win the class, he's also thinking that if I make a mistake, there's these 2 right behind me who are right on each other and right on the pace. So this could be interesting. Heading into the final few laps, lap 17 of 24 here at Silverstone in the Ace Racing League Formula 2 World Championship. On board here with Dave Southern as he hunts down on this Cochrane. He's just biding his time, waiting for him. I think what he'll be trying to do is just to pressure Cochrane into making that mistake. Just trying to let him know he's there, maybe occasionally having a look, just pressure Cochrane into maybe locking up or having a half sprint, trying to carry too much speed to the corner and running wide. And then, that's an easy P3. He doesn't have to even do an overtake to get the position and get a podium. But obviously he knows there's a podium on the line. What the points mean, he's currently P2 in the championship. He will be P3 after this race if Sanford finishes where he does. But, those points will be vital for him, Joey.
Yeah, indeed. Dave Southern still behind the man in P3, Alex Scotchwood. With less than 7 laps remaining, it's looking ever close, so slightly. I honestly cannot predict what's happening next.
Agreed. This is going to be the battle at the end of the race. And Dave Southern having a look into Brooklands, just a bit too far back. But again, letting Cochrane know that he's there as Cochrane runs wide through Brooklands and again through Luffield. That's really going to compromise his run down into Copse Corner as they head through Woodcote now onto the old start-finish straight. Dave Southern again just biding his time, it appears. He doesn't want to get caught in that dirty A. I believe what he's going to try and do is try and get a run here through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Now let's see what he can do. Yeah, carrying a lot more speed through the opening of Maggots and Beckett's, and Chapel, however, not so much. Cochrane actually appeared to have the pace advantage through there, and the gap has opened again. I'm sure Southern will be getting the DRS. But again, I think he's just too far back for it to have an effect as we head on to lap 19 now. Not long left to go in this race. It really has flown by. As we come down into the club chicane, again, Southern just a bit too far back to have a look. Just under a second. However, fluctuating wildly through every corner. They themselves have managed to pull a gap to a Gabble behind them, who I think may have made a mistake. So that's now a bit of a 5-second gap. Here's Luca Mengini chasing down Imran Sheikh for P7. This will be the first points finish of the season for Luca and the first points finish for the Volpino squad as well. It was discovered earlier today that Luca was actually racing with a 75 kilo ballast penalty on his car, which he's accidentally put on and just not taken off because he didn't know that was on it. So he's showing his real pace here today, up in P7. So it's I'm sure this is a points finish that's been a long time coming for Mengini, and he does indeed get the move done for P7. A lovely, lovely little move into the club chicane. This young Swiss driver now hoping just to perhaps build that gap and secure himself that P7. I think P6 is probably a little bit off the cards. They're both of them are quite far behind Gabble, unless Gabble makes another mistake. However, Dave Southern knows that P3 is definitely still a possibility on lap 19 as he's still chasing down Alex Cochrane. Coming through Maggots and Beckett again, just carrying so much more speed through the opening 2 corners and then just understeering through the 3rd and through Chapel. However, he's a little bit closer this time. Again, I don't think he's going to be close enough to get the move done into Stowe unless he can carry a lot of speed around Stowe and perhaps into Club Chicane. On the brakes now, and we can see them here coming through Stowe Corner. The driver's on the edge, an absolute tyre melter of a corner and into the club chicane. Again, not close enough through that tight left-right flick. I'm sure he's just, at this point, he's probably thinking, hoping for Cochrane to make a mistake, perhaps just lock up into one of those slower corners because I don't think he's got the pace perhaps to get moved on. But that being said, he's had a great run out of the final corner. And through Abbey, he's really close. He could potentially be having a late dive bomb. Not quite close enough to turn 3. Maybe have the switch back into the loop. And again, not close enough. He'll try and get the run through the loop though, yet running wider through the corner, usually try and build up that momentum. Not sure it's quite worked though, because Cochrane had a great drive out of the corner, but he will have the DRS down into Brooklands. And there's Cochrane pulls to the inside, he's already defending. And through Brooklands again, and Southern takes a very, very late apex, just trying to maximise that entry into Luffield, and he unfortunately runs a bit too wide there for him, to perhaps gain an advantage. A bit of a lazy moment there from us now. Like Cochrane, he almost just straight lined the exit of the corner, and that's allowed Southern to get very close, but he's having to back up into the cops. He's too close, but not close enough to make a move, and he's going to have to do all that work again.
Very unfortunate that, but it's not over. We got less than 5 laps left, and it's still looking close ever so slightly. Conor Parkman's absolutely living the dream, as I said earlier, and just running away with that P1 gap. Is now around 12 seconds. Conor Parkman, absolutely man of the match at the moment.
He is indeed. He's going to scoop up all the awards for this race. It's been an absolutely phenomenal performance from the Canadian driver. He's just simply flying today. He's got a huge lead. He's looked so imperious in that position. You can see their ARL Formula 3 champion logo on the side of his car. Just perhaps wanted to boast a bit about his past achievements, but you can see why he's got those achievements here today. He is just, he's 12 seconds up the road from Toby Sanford in P2. He is lap 21 of 24. It's been a phenomenal performance from him, the number 26 car. And he's really staking his claim as to why he's in the lead of that championship. It's been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal stuff from him. As we just continue to follow him around.
Honestly, Ross, it's something I couldn't do myself. Conor Parks with here, absolutely showing why he's boss, winning the previous race and just leading it around with this one. Gap for P3 though, really close, I must say.
It is a lot closer than I was expecting. They're still very close at this stage in the race. Obviously, Alex Cochrane and Dave Southwood. I've just learned that I've been pronouncing those incorrectly the entire race. Apologies. This is my first time doing the comms over this season. Just replacing Ron today, and you can see them very close. Through there is Southwood. Coming up, Cochrane. Perhaps going to have to go defensive into Stowe. And again, Southwood not quite close enough. Coming through Stowe. Can he hold the pace into the club chicane? Late on the brakes. Again, just not close enough. These two drivers are locked so tight, but neither one appears to have the true pace advantage. The gap's just fluctuating to and fro. At 1 minute, it looks like Cochrane's just going to be able to run away into the distance, and next he's having to go super heavy on the defence because Dave is all over his gearbox as they head through Abbey Corner, lap 22 of 24. Just 3 laps to go left in this race, and he's going to have a look now down the inside, very late on the brakes. Looks like they almost touched there through turn 3, and that's going to perhaps, if they did touch, I'm not sure they did, but perhaps a bit of front wing damage there for the driver in P4, Dave Southwood. And very late on the brakes, very ballsy move there. I'm not sure what happened, maybe just a bit too late on the brakes, perhaps he locked up, but that could have been a lot worse. Could have been contact between the pair, spinning both out, and that really would have been a disaster for both the drivers there. And I'm sure if that had happened, Luca Baker would have got right back involved with this battle. However, Dave is not dropped that far back, luckily. He's still managing to go as he come through Copse Corner into the Maggots and Beckett sequence. Probably the most famous part of Silverstone, that right left flick that is pretty much flat out in most modern single seaters nowadays. It is really a place, however, to separate the wheat from the chaff. It is just, it's where the time is made around this circuit. If you can keep your foot in and keep the momentum going, as we just come around to a lap. Shane Parks, I believe that is, who runs incredibly wide through Stowe to let these two through. Obviously wary they're in a battle. Yeah, Magsbit is just a phenomenal section of corners, and in a real world racing car. Apparently the run up through Copse and through Maggots Beckett's Chapel is the most phenomenal piece of track you can experience perhaps anywhere in the world.
Yeah, couldn't agree more on that. Max and Back is absolutely magical. Just going through it. done it in FSO myself, and just the complex, it amazes me every time.
It is a fantastic, fantastic section of corners. You know, it's just, when you get it right, it's so rewarding. You can get a really big run down the hanger straight, and with DRS as well here, I'm sure that's what Dave Southwood would be loving to do, as he again has a bit of a look already halfway down the straight. On lap 23, 2 laps remaining, and again just closing in under the brake, but he just can't carry the speed through the corners. We'll have to see what they can do. Obviously, as I mentioned just seconds ago, there's 2 laps remaining. I think this is when he's going to start to take risks. He knows that this is a podium on the line. This is important championship points on the line. So he's going to need to make the move done. Obviously, Cochrane will be loving the points as well. But arguing where they are in the championship, you know, Southwood is you know, fighting for set P2 as it stands. So he's going to really need those championship points in order to stay in that battle. Well, we'll have to see as we head round onto the hanger straight. Again, DRS wide open. Connor Peltman sets a fastest lap of the race as he heads onto the final lap, 1 minute 40.6. A very strong lap there from the Canadian driver. And again, Cochrane just having the advantage into club corner. We'll have to see what these two can do onto the final lap. They almost come. Round 1 more corner they go, and it appears that Southwood is a lot closer this time. Yeah, he is. He's a lot closer coming out of that final section through Abbey. If he gets a very good run, he may be able to have a look into T3. Is this where we see the move done for P3? Let's have a look what Dave does. Coming into T3, no, he doesn't. It's very close on the outside. A little bit of a wiggle. Here we are on board with him now. Has the look into the loop. Doesn't quite go, and he does go, though, because Alex Cochrane runs very wide. And then again, Dave Southwood gets very loose on the exit of the corner. Both of them having very sloppy exits to the loop. But now, down the Wellington straight they go. DRS wide open, has a look up the inside. Is he close enough? He goes for the dive bomb. Who's going to get it? Cochrane holds the outside. He's got the inside line into Luffield. And I think he's just going to hold onto the position. He manages to push Dave a little bit wide out and just managed to hold onto that position. A bit cheeky there from Cochrane, but manages to hold that P3 as we head on to Cops now. Coming onto the old start finish straight, should I say, coming through Cops now. Let's see if Southwood manages to stay with him. Runs extremely wide. You can see how on the limit he is. He's desperate to stay with him through the Maggots and Beckett's complex. Can he get any closer through here? This is where the run's going to be very vital. Coming into Chapel Corner, he's closer than he has been before through this section. Connor Peltman, however, is going to cross the line to win the Silverstone round 3, should I say, apologies, of the Ace Racing League Formula 2 Championship. Toby Sanford's going to come home in second, but the question is who's going to come home in third? Dave Southwood is right on the tail of Alex Cochrane, and it's going to be what happens into the club chicane. He's already having a look, but I think he's too far back. He goes for the dive, but no, too far back. Alex Cochrane is going to hold on to take P3, and it's a vital P3 in the championship. An absolute phenomenal race from these two for the entire race, Joey.
I'm speechless. It's been so close for the entirety of the race. I mean, absolute applause to all of these drivers, to be honest, and they're great for keeping it this close. Toby Sanford up in there in P2 and now on your screen. This has been mental, Ross.
Exactly, it's been an absolute phenomenal race. Obviously, Connor Peltman's doing a pitch, pulling over to the side there, as we can see. He's had a phenomenal race. Toby Sanford as well, picking up P2 in the championship with that result. Alex Cochrane is probably delighted with his defence from Dave Southwood, who's probably feeling a bit frustrated, but he's put in a solid performance nonetheless. Luca Baker's also done well. Gabor Borovoj has done a great job as well. Imran Sheikh also putting in a strong performance. Luca Mangini taking home his first points of the season as well. So that's a very good result for him and the Volpino Arctic squad. Bolescu and Parks as well, both bringing home points. So it's great results really for everyone all over the board. We had a number of internet issues today, clearly, and drivers just dropping out as really promoted people into points positions in the championship. Luca Mangini crosses the line. There you go, the young Swiss driver, his first points of the season. We can see a car parked up on the pit lane, and he takes out Imran Sheikh there for good measure into Abu Corner. There's your P3 driver, Alex Cochrane, put in a great result today as he just comes around Brooklands and Luffield past the BRDC building. It's been a very strong performance from him today, but that is the end of round 3 of your Ace Racing League Formula 2 World Championship here at Silverstone Circuit. Connor Peltman's taking another win here today. Toby Sanford in P2, Alex Cochrane P3, Dave Southwood P4, Luca Baker, P5, Gabor Borivoj, P6, Imran Sheikh, P7, Luca Mangini, P8, Belascu, P9, and Shane Parks, P10. Unfortunately, we had a load of retirements today due to internet issues. Obviously, Brandon Kruger's one that comes to mind. He was running for P2 when he dropped out. You know, actually, to be fair, we've had a very clean race day. Not a lot of crashes, have we, Joey?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, the internet has to play an issue in this one. But for the rest of it, it's been really exciting. It's been really close. And there again, Connor Parksman, such as last time out, just stealing the win and just running away with it.
Exactly. So thank you very much for tuning in here to the Ace Racing League Round 3 here at Silverstone. We hope you've enjoyed. And make sure to come along next time, next weekend, same time, same place. It will be Round 4 at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. See you then. Thank you.